A UK national has been killed in Pakistan-occupied Kashmir amid mounting anger over Asim Munir's brutal crackdown in PoK. India now slamming Pakistan, saying public discontent was answered with bullets and calling for Pakistan to be held accountable over rights violations. Meanwhile, Baloch leaders marked Balochistan Liberation Day, marking and observing Balochistan independence. All this and a lot more being decoded in just a bit. Also on the show for you tonight, Trump's Iran escape plan has been revealed, it seems. And it has triggered serious questions and mounting concern. A Gravitas special report on why China's Ice Silk Road could rewrite global shipping. The UN watchdog to remove nuclear material at the secret Syrian site after US broke a deal. We tell you what this is all about. 132 dead, hundreds trapped. Colombia's desperate rescue mission after that earthquake continues. All this and a lot more coming up. The anger is boiling over. Asim Munir's brutal crackdown in Pakistan-occupied Kashmir has left Pakistan exposed as questions continue to grow over just how desperate the Pakistan army really is to try and silence the protesters, and how miserably it has failed to do so because the entire world is watching. But then when does this end? Let's tell you what's happened in the latest. A British national was reportedly shot dead by the Pakistani forces in PoK. His name, Mohammad Akhtar, he was reportedly killed by the Pakistani security forces during protests in Pakistan-occupied Kashmir. Another British citizen reportedly remains detained. The families allege reportedly excessive force and arbitrary arrests. The UK government has expressed concern over the situation. This comes on top of the mounting anger over the killing of several protesters in PoK, and the situation has remained volatile to say the least. Here's what's known about this British national. According to a Guardian report citing his family, Mohammad Akhtar was reportedly killed on the 9th of June after Pakistani security forces opened fire on protesters gathered to demand economic and electoral reforms in PoK. In fact, reports suggest that another British national has remained behind bars in a prison in PoK for more than 2 months, despite the efforts by his family to secure his release through the intervention of UK's Foreign Office. Akhtar was reportedly staying in Kotley city in PoK, near the area where the clashes broke out. And according to the Guardian report, his cousin says he wasn't even taking part in the protests. The demonstrations were happening close to his house, and there was firing by the forces that day, and that he was hit by a stray bullet. His family reportedly had been unable to even file a police complaint in PoK and feared that drawing attention to the case could put the family at risk. Just imagine their plight. In fact, the UK's Foreign, Commonwealth and Development Office has expressed grave concern over the dire situation in PoK. Before we talk more about that, let's also lay out the context. The situation there has remained on the boil amid Asim Munir's cruel crackdown. Meanwhile, the anger in Balochistan has been intensifying as well. So are the calls for independence there. In fact, Baloch leader Mir Baloch urged the international community to recognize the independence of Balochistan and slammed Pakistan for its ongoing repression at the hands of the Pakistani establishment. In a post on X, he said, I'm quoting now, "The 6 crore people of Balochistan celebrate their National Independence Day every year on the 11th of August. Today, we have reached a stage where we do not merely celebrate our independence, but demand from the world that the independence of Balochistan be recognized legally, politically, diplomatically, and morally. doubling down on Pakistan as it continues to curtail the freedoms in Balochistan. He claimed that more than 50,000 Baloch are still enduring inhuman atrocities in Pakistan. He also slammed Pakistan further, saying it may possess thousands of tanks, hundreds of warplanes, artillery, a large army, but the army of Balochistan, according to him, is 10 times more powerful and successful than the army of Pakistan in physical, mental and fighting capability. In a message, he also claimed that Balochistan was an independent nation and urged countries and the international organizations to stop referring to the region as a province of Pakistan. He said moral support for the people of Balochistan must continue so that they can remove, in his words, the cancer-like Pakistan from the land. Just for further context, last month, remember, the rebel group claimed to have seized control of majority of the region and had declared independence. And in the message of independence, the group also thanked international media organizations, particularly those in India, as well as researchers, think tanks, that it said had highlighted the Balochistan issue globally. Balochistan is observing its Independence Day, as it calls it, continuing that annual tradition. The Baloch struggle for independence, remember, has significant historical origins starting way back in 1947. Meanwhile, people have reportedly voiced concerns over the communication blackout on the ground as authorities have suspended mobile and internet services in Quetta and various other parts of Pakistan's Balochistan for a second consecutive day because of the looming security threats, as per local media. All of these developments adding to the concern, the growing list of questions that Pakistan needs to answer. The killing of the British national in PoK, the killings of protesters by Munir's forces, triggering serious concern and a question that remains unanswered. When will Pakistan be held accountable for killing civilians there? In fact, earlier today, India called on the international community to hold Pakistan accountable for the gross violation of human rights in PoK, slamming Pakistan for violence against protesters in the area. And asked about reports that Americans of Kashmiri descent had written to the UN Secretary General seeking intervention to end the violence in PoK. The MEA spokesperson backed the call for greater international attention to the situation. He stressed on how in the last several months, we have seen that during the elections and before that, large-scale protests were held there and public discontent was answered with bullets and blackouts.
I would like to highlight that we have seen the kind of human rights violations that were committed in Pakistan occupied Kashmir and other parts of that country. We call upon the international community to hold Pakistan accountable for its misdeeds, for its abuses and for flagrant violation or gross violation of human rights.
The situation at PoK has once again highlighted Pakistan's shortcomings, to say the least, when it comes to guaranteeing basic human rights to its people. Not just that, the atrocities, the killings. There is a growing need for the international community to take note of the situation and not just that, hold Pakistan accountable for the deaths reported during the recent violence. As ordinary people continue to lose their lives, these are killings that cannot and will not be brushed under the carpet. Shifting focus now to a major revelation. While returning from the NATO summit in Turkey a month ago, US President Donald Trump took a rather unusual last-minute decision. Instead of boarding the newly retrofitted Boeing 747 gifted by Qatar, he claimed to have flown by the older Air Force One till Britain. And if reports are to be believed, this was a deception allegedly, which probably put lives of journalists at risk. Let's tell you why this question is being asked. According to the New York Times and the Washington Post, Trump secretly flew by a military jet in wake of threats from Iran, before switching to the Qatari jet in the UK for the flight back to Washington, D.C. What unfolded in public eye, though, was another story altogether. Let's just lay it out for you and tell you exactly what emerged. For this, let's take you back to the 8th of July. Have a look at these visuals. Trump here is seen boarding that aircraft, the Air Force One, the older Air Force One at the Ankara airport. He even waved from the door as cameras recorded his departure. In the next frame, you can see a catering truck parked near the Air Force One. Minutes later, it pulled away from the spot as media personnel then boarded the aircraft. And thereafter, the footage appears to show the truck moving behind the plane towards the staircase leading to the military jet. That's the truck right there that we are talking about. Now, this assumes a lot of significance as reports claimed that Trump was transported to the military jet in a catering truck. Now, this elaborate plan continued when the older Air Force One landed at UK's airbase. While Trump reportedly stepped off the plane about 40 minutes later, reports now claim that he was first secretly driven from the military aircraft to this plane, which he boarded through a different entrance. And this gave out the impression, in a way, as if Trump had traveled on that jet. And what makes this even more interesting and worth noting is that journalists traveling with Trump seem to have been kept in the dark about this secret plan. While the US Secret Service has used decoy motorcades and flights in the past to move presidents secretly, this also raises some troubling questions. If the threat to Trump's life was credible, why were journalists then allowed to board the older Air Force One jet? Don't journalists' lives matter for the Trump administration? And these are serious questions. Incidentally, Trump's version on this incident kept changing. Initially, the US president, remember, claimed that he was taking the older Air Force One jet as the Qatari aircraft would travel to the UK early so that US troops could tour it. Later, when asked whether security concerns had influenced that decision, he did not quite answer directly, but he acknowledged a serious threat to his life from Iran. Let's just play out for you what he had said back then.
No, I'm number one on the kill list for Iran. They're lovely people. I'm number one. So I don't know. I can't tell you that, but I don't really care because I'm doing my job and I'm doing it, I hope, better than anybody's ever done it because we have a country that's hot and really, really successful. But
when asked about the latest reports, this is what the Trump administration had to say. The White House communications director told the New York Times reportedly, and I'm quoting, "As the president has said recently, there are many enemies of America who have their sights on him, and we use every tool at our disposal to address those threats," quote unquote. However, the White House was silent on why it potentially risked the lives of journalists. That remains the big question. And this also comes at a time when Trump has been struggling to convince Iran about a deal, even as Iran has been unwilling to reopen the Strait of Hormuz for free passage of ships. Trump claimed the US has total control of this strategic waterway owing to its naval blockade. Riling Iran further, he demanded compensation for people it has allegedly killed over the decades. Listen to this.
They asked for reparations, you might say, or they asked for money for the damage that we've done. I said, that's a good idea. Well, we're going to ask for money for the damage they've done over a 50-year period. Whether you go SS Cole or whether you go all of the people that were so badly hurt, so badly wounded or killed, many thousands of people.
Let's also tell you, while Qatar stressed that talks between Oman and Iran on the future of shipping in Hormuz are at a critical point, it is apparent that a US-Iran deal is still far away, considering the extent of their differences. Onto the Russia-Ukraine battlefield. Russia is building a bigger missile as Ukraine runs short of shields. Its deadly anti-ship missile is now rolling off production lines in large numbers. And with the NATO's eastern flank already bracing for Russian escalation, this missile could become a much bigger threat. Our next report decoding this for you.
The most dangerous weapon is not always the newest one. Sometimes it is the weapon Moscow already knows how to build, launch and fire again and again. Russia has unleashed the P-800 Onyx cruise missile, designed as a fierce ship killer. This supersonic beast travels at speeds exceeding Mach 2.5 with a range of up to 800 kilometers, carrying a 300-kilogram high-explosive warhead. The Onyx hugs the terrain at sea-skimming altitudes, making it nearly impossible for conventional radar to detect or intercept. Designed to hunt warships, this supersonic cruise missile has been transformed into a weapon Russia can also use against land targets. Now Moscow is producing more, and that's what worries Kyiv. Ukraine's military intelligence says Russia manufactured 60 Onyx missiles in the first 7 months of 2026 and 33 Zircon missiles. That means Russia has already hit its annual production target for both systems. Russia has already used Onyx and Zircon missiles against Ukraine.
Внимание, расчет, пуск!
At the same time, Ukraine is facing a serious shortage of air defense interceptors. Such is the situation that Ukraine admits that it failed to stop any of the 28 Russian missiles fired on Kyiv last week. 17 people died and over 50 injured in the attack. This is a nightmare scenario. More missiles, more bombardments, fewer interceptors. And now a missile originally built to destroy ships is being mass-produced for a wider battlefield. The danger does not stop at Ukraine. Poland and the Baltic states are already increasing protection around critical infrastructure amid fears of possible Russian sabotage or false flag operations, a charge denied by Moscow. Russia has warned Ukraine against any provocations against Belarus, which is one of Russia's closest allies. Apart from hosting Russian troops, Moscow has also deployed its nuclear weapons in Belarus. NATO's eastern flank is on alert. If Russia can keep multiplying its missile stockpile, the question is no longer simply how powerful the missile is. It is how many Moscow can fire at once. Bureau Report, WION World is One.
Let's now take you to South India, Bengaluru. A tragic incident there. A 40-year-old man allegedly murdered his 2 young daughters by strangulation and subsequently tried to end his own life by slitting his throat. According to the police, the 2 children, aged 5 and 10, were found dead on a bed, and their father was discovered seriously injured in the toilet. This was at a 5-star hotel in Bengaluru. The man was rushed to the city's hospital by the hotel security staff and is said to be in a critical condition. And what exactly happened? The incident came to light at around 4 p.m. local time when the hotel's cleaning staff went and knocked at the door, but there was no response. A suicide note recovered from the scene pointing towards a deep-seated marital discord. Police said the man suspected his wife of having an affair. And the police have registered a case now of murder and are conducting a thorough investigation into the sequence of events. For centuries now, ships have followed the same maritime route between Asia and Europe. Now China wants to open a completely different route across the top of the world. As Arctic ice retreats, Beijing is turning a once impenetrable frozen frontier into a potential new trade corridor. And the prize is enormous, to say the least. Let's break it down. A route that could essentially slash sailing times between China and Europe, reduce dependence on crowded maritime choke points, and give China a new strategic link to Western markets. China calls it the Ice Silk Road, and if the route proves commercially viable, it could do more than just shorten a voyage. It could basically redraw the map of global shipping. According to a Financial Times report, Chinese container shipping company is preparing to launch a regular service through the Arctic, linking Ningbo on China's east coast with Felixstowe in Britain. Now, this weekly service will travel along Russia's northern coastline through the Northern Sea route. Sea Legend, the company, reportedly chose the name Ice Silk Road as a modern reference to the ancient Silk Road that connected China with Europe. The route could cut the usual 40-day sailing time between the two ports by roughly half. Interest in the North Sea route is also growing. The route recorded 23 transits last summer. That was up from 15 in 2024. Of course, climate change is also helping open the passage. And research from the University of Southampton also found that peak winter Arctic sea ice fell 5.8% between 2024 and 2025. That's the largest decline on record. The strategic attraction here is also quite clear. Ships can potentially avoid major choke points like the Strait of Hormuz, the Bab el-Mandeb Strait, where security threats have repeatedly disrupted shipping since February this year. In fact, the Arctic boom is also driving demand for specialized vessels. Maritime data showing 167 ice-class ships were built last year, the highest number in more than a decade. At least another 164 are due to be built this year. The United States is also aiming to increase its presence in the Arctic, directly challenging Moscow and Beijing. Russia already dominates the region with more than 40 icebreakers and a growing military footprint as well. In October last year, US President Donald Trump, remember, signed an agreement with the Finnish president, basically to expand America's fleet of icebreakers. In case you're not aware, icebreakers are specialized vessels designed to cut through the ice-covered waters, thereby ensuring safe navigation for other ships. Under the deal, the US Coast Guard will acquire up to 11 cutting-edge icebreakers to strengthen national security in the Arctic. The Arctic region covers nearly 1/6 of the Earth's landmass. The region is estimated to hold nearly 20% of the world's undiscovered oil and gas reserves, making it one of the most resource-rich and politically sensitive zones on the planet. But the Arctic remains an unforgiving environment at the same time. Crews must navigate shifting ice, extreme weather, sometimes without reliable GPS. A vessel can also become trapped if the icebreaker support is unavailable. That's how risky it is. Unlike major global shipping lanes, the Arctic has limited infrastructure for emergencies, firefighting, medical assistance. and rescue can be extremely difficult when something goes wrong. For China, the Ice Silk Road offers speed and also strategic reach. For global shipping, it represents something far bigger, the possibility of a new trade highway emerging from a rapidly changing Arctic. Time now to take a quick look at the global headlines at this hour, taking you around the world in 120 seconds.
A Syrian court sentences former President Bashar al-Assad, his brother Maher al-Assad, to death after being convicted of crimes during the country's nearly 14-year war. Assad is reportedly living in Russia after fleeing Damascus in December 2024. Thailand's Prime Minister suspends firearms licenses after last week's deadly school shooting, as the bodies of the teenage assailant and the grandparents he killed were cremated. Almost 3/4 of England is now in drought as much of Europe braces for its 5th climate crisis-driven heatwave this summer. American space agency NASA invites its Indian counterpart ISRO to join its moon base program in a move expected to expand India-US cooperation in lunar exploration. The partnership under the Artemis Accords could focus on lunar science, exploration, and future space missions. Malaysian farmers and environmental groups oppose a proposed genetically modified rice trial, urging authorities to reconsider the plan. Concerns include potential risks to crops, biodiversity, and the agricultural ecosystem. Australia to include questions on gender identity and sexual orientation in its census to provide more detailed demographic data. The move marks a significant change to the national questionnaire and has sparked political and social debate.
Onto a special report. Even as Trump's aim to secure enriched uranium from Iran remains a pipe dream, the US has managed to get its way in another country. According to a report, the US now has brokered a deal whereby the International Atomic Energy Agency will soon remove nuclear material stored at a site in Syria. Now, the facility in question is Site 99, where the previous Bashar al-Assad government had reportedly stored residue nuclear material from the Al-Kibar site. It is nearly 450 kilometers northeast of Syria's capital. The US accused Syria of building a secret nuclear reactor at Al-Kibar with North Korea during the tenure of Bashar al-Assad, who was sentenced to death in absentia. However, back then, Syria denied this and asserted that it was an unused military facility under construction. Now, it's important to highlight here that the West Asian nation is a signatory to the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, which basically allows use of nuclear energy for peaceful purposes. In September 2007, though, things took a serious turn when Israel bombed the Al-Kibar site. IDF released footage which showed a target locking onto a building that is blown apart afterwards. Plumes of smoke were visible in the aftermath as Israeli security personnel monitored the operation. However, Syria did not retaliate back then, citing that Israel had struck unused military infrastructure. But Israel acknowledged having carried out this strike only 11 years later in 2018. 11 years. According to the Israeli military, 4 F-16s and 4 F-15s were involved in the operation, reportedly, which lasted 4 hours. Defending the strike, it cited the strategic implications in Israel, Syria, as well as the rest of West Asia. It noted that ISIS later overran the province in which this nuclear reactor is located. Israel claimed to have destroyed the nuclear reactor in its strike. According to Axios, the nuclear material transferred to Site 99 included yellow cake, which is a powder from uranium ore, which can be eventually enriched as part of a nuclear cycle. The report added that this material can be used to build a bomb that disperses radioactive material to contaminate an area. Following Bashar al-Assad's ouster, the IAEA got the nod from the al-Shara-led government last year to access and inspect former nuclear sites in Syria, including Al-Kibr. But what was the immediate trigger for America to push for the removal of nuclear material from Syria? According to the report, it was Israel, which reportedly raised alarm. Several weeks ago, Israel detected movements in the area around Site 99. Subsequently, it became concerned that the new Syrian government was trying to access the nuclear material with Turkey's help. That's not all. As per the report, Israel threatened to bomb the site if the nuclear material was not removed. The Trump administration thereafter asked Israel not to take any action and scrambled to reach an agreement between IAEA and Syria, basically to prevent another escalation in West Asia. Even as Trump and al-Shara share a good rapport, the current incident is yet another manifestation, it seems, of the lingering mistrust between Israel and Syria. And that's because the Assad dynasty, which ruled the country for over 5 decades, played a crucial role in empowering Hezbollah and training its fighters, reportedly. The Lebanon-based outfit also, remember, fought alongside Bashar al-Assad's forces in Syria's civil war. And while this changed after al-Shara took over, Syria and Israel are yet to establish diplomatic relations. In May this year, the US, along with experts from the IAEA and the UK, removed all remaining enriched uranium in Venezuela, remember. The material was subsequently transferred to the United States. And this came months after America captured Venezuela's leader, Nicolas Maduro, and his wife. However, with Iran refusing to give in to any pressure, the question of enriched uranium remains unsolved in the ongoing talks between the US and Iran. And before we go on any further, a quick look at what else is lined up for you on the show tonight. We tell you all about how the Maharashtra FDA is spearheading the crackdown on food safety violations. Himachal Pradesh in India on edge as monsoon fury leaves over 150 people dead. The landslides have shut over 250 roads. We focus also on the Jharkhand protests and what did they look like in the state with the Bandh over police action on the student protesters. According to a new study, some Great Lakes fish could be more than 400 years old, longer living than, in fact, older than expected. We tell you all that you need to know. On to this report on Maharashtra's food safety crackdown. It's only getting bigger, more intense, and increasingly it's moving beyond restaurants and roadside eateries. Now, the latest raids have thrown up everything from cockroach infestations, expired food, to questionable oil labeling practices as well. Our principal correspondent Disha Yadav getting you a closer look at this crackdown and also its impact on what Maharashtra eats.
from luxury food establishments to government canteens, warehouses and even quick commerce dark stores. The Maharashtra FDA is widening its net beyond eating joints. The numbers tell the story. Between May 25 and July 31st, the state FDA inspected over 3,130 food establishments. It issued 764 improvement notices. The agency also suspended licenses of 165 establishments. Nearly 28.6 lakh kilograms of unsafe food products worth more than 55 crores were seized and destroyed. Among hotels, restaurants and eateries alone, the FDA conducted 890 inspections and suspended 116 licenses. The crackdown has not stopped at traditional food businesses. The latest enforcement drive between August 6 and 9 targeted manufacturers, warehouses, retailers and quick commerce facilities. An FDA inspection of a Blinkit dark store found violations for food handling hygiene and stock management, and also waste disposal. The facility's food license was suspended and food-related operations barred until further orders. The FDA also cracked down against substandard oil, seizing more than 1.19 lakh kilograms of edible oil worth more than 1.5 crores after inspecting 5 manufacturing and repacking units. 27 samples have been sent for laboratory testing and several units were shut down after their licenses were suspended. Dairy products are another major focus. Maharashtra has imposed a 1-year ban on the manufacture, storage, transport, distribution and sale of analog or non-dairy paneer. The FDA says the action follows concerns over sale of synthetic or non-standardized paneer as genuine dairy products. The FDA's milk crackdown is also expanding. Milk establishments, dairies, distributors and retailers are being subjected to tighter compliance checks, with the department pushing for greater traceability across the supply chain. At the center of this drive is Food and Drug Administration Commissioner Tukaram Munde. Since he took charge on 25th of May this year, the FDA has carried out over 1,000 inspections across Maharashtra, averaging more than 20 a day. But perhaps the biggest change is not visible in the seizure numbers. It is visible inside kitchens. Across Mumbai, food businesses are stepping up deep cleaning, pest control measures, storage checks and hygiene practices, with several restaurants increasingly putting up messages assuring customers that they have complied with FSSAI norms.
So these posters were not displayed before, but now because of this crackdown, each and every establishment is becoming even more cautious. And we have not observed this in one restaurant alone, but in several other eatery outlets across Mumbai and even institutional canteens like the school canteens as well, where they have displayed that they have replaced junk food items with healthier food items in their menu cards. With video journalist Siddesh, this is Disha reporting from Mumbai for WION World is One.
A day after the protest march to the assembly, the crisis over alleged irregularities in the Jharkhand Public Service Commission exam has only intensified. Amid heavy police deployment, BJP workers have taken to the streets to enforce what they are calling the Jharkhand Bandh. Let's tell you more about what has unfolded in the state. The BJP called for the Jharkhand Bandh over alleged police action on the protesting students in the state. To enforce the Jharkhand Bandh, BJP workers blocked roads at multiple locations, throwing normal life out of gear in a way. And visuals from an area in Ranchi also showing a group of BJP workers blocking a crucial intersection by sitting on the roads. In another incident, BJP workers blocked a road during the statewide bandh. A large number of police personnel, in fact, intervened to stop the crowd. At the same road, the situation became intense as the BJP workers stepped up their demonstration, setting a tire on fire. The situation further intensified with chaotic scenes unfolding at the protest march of the ABVP while marching from the old assembly building to the new premises. The ABVP workers clashed with the police allegedly, with some of them climbing over a police bus reportedly. The protesters were later detained by the police. BJP's call for the statewide bandh in Jharkhand, remember, came a day after the police allegedly used batons, water cannon, tear gas shells to disperse the job aspirants who marched towards the state assembly yesterday. Several agitators and policemen were injured after demonstrators breached multiple barricades during the protest march. Police forces used water cannons to disperse the demonstrators. It failed to push back the protesters as some of them were seen dancing amid the water cannon action. To keep the situation under control, police forces resorted to lathi charge and tear gas. Protesters alleged that several people, including women, were injured during the action, while Ranchi police said at least 14 policemen were hurt after stone pelting.
The police used minimal force. We allowed the protesters to do whatever they wished to do all day long. We made every effort to reason with them and persuade them gently. There were some individuals who do not listen and repeatedly try to create a ruckus.
Shifting focus now to the monsoon fury in India, which continues. Himachal Pradesh is on edge. Normal life has been disrupted in several parts. Over 250 roads have been blocked due to landslides triggered by the heavy rainfall. Look at these visuals now. Rain lashed Shimla. Many parts of the city witnessed not just waterlogging but also landslides. In fact, in some areas, trees were uprooted because of the rain, causing further inconvenience to the people. A similar situation unfolded in Dharamshala as well, which witnessed heavy rainfall. In Lahore and Spiti district, road connectivity was disrupted because of flooding in the valley. The Indian Met Department has also predicted heavy rain and storms for this district as well as Mandi, Kangra on Wednesday. The human toll as far as the monsoon is concerned in Himachal Pradesh cannot be understated. According to the state government, over 150 people have died in monsoon-related incidents from June 30th to August 9, whereas over 250 others have been injured. As of now, over 250 roads there remain blocked. 3 national highways, including the Manali highway, have been disrupted, thereby cutting road connectivity between Mandi and Kulu. Over 800 structures, including houses, shops, cattle sheds, have been damaged. That's not all. Power supply has been significantly impacted, with 66 transformers going out of service. As far as the financial loss is concerned, the state government is already pegging it at over 880 crore rupees. The situation is dire in Assam as well. According to the latest data, the death toll there because of the floods has risen to 101 as per the latest. More than 126,000 people remain affected across 10 districts. Flooding also in the river affected areas like Adergaon, causing damage to farms and fisheries. Over 4,600 houses across Assam have been damaged because of the heavy rainfall. At present, over 2,000 relief distribution centers are operational in Assam to ensure that continued support reaches the flood-affected areas. On to Colombia now, which has declared a state of emergency after a powerful 7.4 magnitude earthquake killed at least 224 people, left over 1,400 injured, while leaving a trail of destruction. But the true scale of the disaster may not even be known as of now. Search and rescue efforts are underway across dozens of cities and towns in western Colombia. Many are feared trapped under the debris of damaged and destroyed buildings. At least 3,000 people are reported to be missing, with rescuers racing against time. An architect looking for his brother stated that he has little hope that his sibling is alive beneath the rubble.
Because the damage is evident. Although I insist there is a survival triangle there, the debris surrounding my brother is soft. It's possible that it's protecting him, but we can't hear any noises anymore. I don't know. I have little hope.
Firefighters, meanwhile, rescued a 35-year-old man from the rubble. The footage was captured, the intense moment seen as the first responders pulled that survivor to safety. The Colombian volunteers and rescue workers have joined forces with the rescue teams to clear the rubble. Volunteers could be seen aiding the rescue efforts as many even looked for their loved ones to safety. The Colombian volunteers and rescue workers have joined forces with the rescue teams to clear the rubble. Volunteers could be seen aiding the rescue efforts as many even looked for their loved ones. The earthquake had struck in the early hours of Monday, and the worst of the damage is emerging from the region surrounding the earthquake's epicenter. More than 2,700 people have been reported missing on a citizen-run website. About 1,600 buildings have been damaged or destroyed, including the towers of a historic cathedral. Researchers in China are working on brain implants that could one day let paralyzed patients control digital technology using nothing but their thoughts. And more importantly, without the need for open brain surgery. The race for brain implants has been gaining momentum. Beijing is backing homegrown brain-computer interface technology, basically to compete with Musk's Neuralink. Let's just break this down. One approach by a Shanghai-based technology company reportedly involves guiding an implant through a blood vessel in the neck and into the brain, similar to placing a stent, for example. The aim here is to reduce the risks and the recovery time associated with opening the skull. The company says part of its implant can anchor outside a blood vessel after reaching its target. It's important to note here that this system has so far been tested only on sheep. Doctors at a Beijing-based government hospital, meanwhile, are reportedly also taking another vascular approach, placing brain-computer interface technology in the brain's venous sinuses. The hospital has reportedly started its first human clinical study, with one physician saying an experienced surgeon could position the device in about 10 minutes. 10 minutes. Chinese researchers are not alone. An American company reportedly focused on brain-computer interfaces has also implanted a similar such system in patients in Australia and the United States. The potential payoff is enormous for people who have lost movement. Developers envision patients eventually communicating, controlling computers, and interacting with technology through brain signals alone. But then that promise remains just that for now, at least. The technology is still in its early stages, remember. The researchers still need to prove these implants are safe, reliable, and also effective over the long term. Whether it could eventually transform how people with severe disabilities interact with the world requires extensive trials and reviews. When the Taj Mahal was being built, the Mughal Empire was still ruling large parts of India. The Renaissance was still unfolding in Europe. Shakespeare was still more than a century away from being born. But some fish swimming in North American waters today could be even older than all of that. That's right. A new study says Michigan's lake sturgeon may live for as long as 427 years, turning these already famous living dinosaurs into some of the oldest freshwater animals on the planet. Researchers from Michigan and Wisconsin reached that estimate after analyzing 44 years of data from 5 lake sturgeon populations in the Great Lakes. And they repeatedly captured, measured, marked, and released the fish, and then tracked their growth when they encountered the same animals again years later. Unlike humans, they continue growing throughout their lives. Researchers use those growth patterns basically to estimate how long it would take a fish to reach a particular size. According to the study, a 63-inch male could live between 90 and 279 years. For females, the estimate stretches even further. A 71-inch female could live anywhere from 99 to 427 years. Earlier research had placed their maximum age at about 150 years. Just for perspective here, Greenland sharks can live for up to 512 years, making them the longest lived vertebrates known to science. Lake sturgeons themselves have been around for roughly 150 million years, long before humans ever appeared. Time now to get you Gravitas image of the day. For this, we take you to northwest China, where a mineral-rich salt lake sparkling in shades of emerald green, pale blue, creating this jewel-like landscape against the vast plateau of the desert, drawing travelers from across China. What's the big question hanging in the air for today? The answer to which determines a lot. In an unannounced visit, Pakistan's Interior Minister arrived in Tehran, met his Iranian counterpart. Which leads us to ask, is this visit yet another attempt by Pakistan to bring Iran and America back to the negotiating table? Is that what this is all about? Also, let's take a quick look at 3 major events expected to unfold over the next 24 hours and reshape headlines. Sky watchers across the world are in for an extraordinary spectacle as multiple rare sky events will unfold on Wednesday. This includes a total solar eclipse, a 6-planet parade, and peak of the meteor shower as well. Prime Minister Modi will release the autobiography of former President Ramnath Kovind in New Delhi on Wednesday. The book offers a personal account of his struggles and achievements from his early years to his tenure as the president. The New Zealand Prime Minister has called an urgent meeting of the National Party lawmakers on Wednesday. And this comes amid calls from some quarters for a leadership change less than 3 months before the general election. And on that note, it's a wrap on this edition of Gravitas Tonight. This is me, Molly Gambhir, signing off. Thanks very much for watching. Stay tuned.
Once a year, grown men in this city put on three-piece suits, or well, at least a blazer, in 40-degree heat and call it a good idea. This is the distinguished gentleman's rite. It happens on the same day in over 100-odd countries. And it started, of all places, with a photograph. A bloke in Sydney saw visuals of a television character, remember Mad Men, and thought, why don't men dress like that anymore? Men don't gather like that anymore. So he put it online, a few mates, nice clothes, old motorcycles. That was 2012. Today it is one of the largest motorcycle events on earth. And we'll get to this, it isn't really about the motorcycles at all.
Motorcycling is about escaping things. It's about getting out there and getting away from the realities of your life and getting some time to yourself. But this is not about escapism. It's more about, in fact, confronting the things that we don't usually talk about. Men's health and mental illness. So, well, we're taking it on the chin and riding on, but we're still talking about it. And I think that's a step in the right direction. So, there you go, folks. Gentlemen for a day, if not longer.
French football turns the page. Zinedine Zidane is the new head coach of Les Bleus. The French Football Federation has officially named Zidane as successor to Didier Deschamps, who steps down after 14 years in charge. For France, this is more than an appointment. It's the return of a national icon. Zidane was the heartbeat of France's 1998 World Cup triumph, scoring twice in the final against Brazil. He went on to win the Ballon d'Or the same year and led Les Bleus to Euro glory in 2000. As a manager, Zidane delivered an unprecedented 3 straight Champions League titles with Real Madrid. Now, the man who gave France its greatest footballing memory